welcome back to Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches. I'm Richard.
I'm Noah.
I got nothing witty, nothing fun, nothing clever, nothing. Sorry about that. I let you down.
That's crazy.
Except for meat. I'll get you a box of Christmas meat. It's the best I can do. I think that's the one that I thought of. Never underestimate the value of a Christmas ham.
That's fair.
I had a landlord for 3 years who every December would bring me a ham.
Oh, that's very nice.
I know that he bought them at Aldi, and he got one for every tenant in the building.
Yeah.
But it was a business thing, and he's a wonderfully kind and generous man.
There you go.
And so I have to say that if there's one redeeming quality in J. Jonah Jameson, it's meat. A good Christmas box of meat. Welcome to Spider-Man.
Yeah, we're starting a new series today. We're doing a retrospective on all the Spider-Man movies.
Which is really cool because 3 of these will be movies I'm revisiting.
Yeah.
And the rest of them are going to be movies that I've never seen before. So, yeah.
I'm excited for it. Now, we have previously gone over the Amazing Spider-Man, the Andrew Garfield movies on this channel. We did that a few years ago, but it was like a couple of years ago.
Did we do both of them, or did we do one of them?
I think you did both of them. I only watched one of them. I think you did both of them. I have no idea, though. But we will be revisiting them in a retrospective series
on Spider-Man.
On all the Spider-Man.
Who was actually, besides the Fantastic Four, my other favorite comic book that I could read growing up.
I think he's a lot of people's favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's a pretty safe bet overall. He's a pillar of comics.
He is a pillar of comics.
I constantly am referencing him in so many different
You
videos.
do actually. You do.
Reference him a lot.
We each have our own go-to thing.
Yeah.
Yours is Peter Parker.
I typically, if I can make a comparison to Peter Parker, I make that comparison because it's something a lot of people will get.
Yes.
Because he's just so popular, and
mine
lot
is
of people catch
Harry
it.
Potter.
Yeah.
That's my go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things that stick in your head.
We're kicking this off with the Spider-Man Tobey Maguire from 2002, the first of the Sam Raimi trilogy.
Yes.
And here on Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches, we talk about movies, books, TV shows, anime, video games, etc. So if you're into that sort of thing, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stick around and see what we're up to.
So we have stumbled into some amazing communities.
Yes, we have.
By doing these. And I was wondering today, is there a Spider-Man community out there?
Oh, yeah. It's big.
So, welcome. If this is your first time watching Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches, if you're a Spider-Man fan, understand I
didn't even realize I put on a Spider-Man shirt today. All right.
Yeah, I did.
was not...
Yeah. I realized today...
I didn't even think about that when I put this on. All right.
I don't have a Spider-Man shirt.
Yeah, I believe that.
And I am not well-versed in the lore of Spider-Man.
Yeah, but I think everyone kind of gets Spider-Man. Everyone kind of knows the story. It's like Superman, Batman, Hulk. Everyone knows his story. I mean, that's one of the things where it was like people were kind of sick of seeing. They were like, man, if I have to see Uncle Ben die one more time.
Yes.
And it only happened. So in the movies, it only happened like twice, but it happened a lot in the comics because every time you reboot, you got to have the origin story. But then it happened a lot in the cartoons too. And I think that's where that fatigue came from, is because every time they made a new Spider-Man cartoon, and there's a ton of them,
well,
a lot of them had an Uncle Ben scene.
I was afraid of that fatigue with the new Superman movie, and it wasn't there, which was really nice.
So, back in 2002, we didn't really have a big screen Spider-Man.
So, when did your mom and I let you watch
I have no
Spider-Man?
idea.
Do you remember?
I think I watched it at a friend's house the first time, and it was like not long after.
One of those, yeah, okay. So, the only reason I ask, when
probably around the time it came out, I'll be honest.
When this Spider-Man came out, it was fun for me because there was so much nostalgia to it.
Okay.
And so seeing that CGI and special effects had, advanced to the point where you could tell the story believably.
Yeah.
Although, admittedly, watching this now,
oh yeah,
that was some fairly primitive CGI.
Very, very.
Nothing.
I was watching it going, this is so much worse than I remember the CGI being.
Yes. But it was cutting edge when it came out.
It was cutting edge when it came out.
So when you get the first widescreen view of the Oscorp plant, that one's bad.
Oh, it's so bad. You could see the Oscorp logo just overlaid like a PNG on half of the buildings. It's like some plant in New Jersey that they just got B-roll of.
Well, and then when Peter is swinging into the burning building, the webbing. They tried to do the sunlight reflecting off the webbing, and it just looked so bad.
Yeah.
It really did. But
it
was fun to see the story come to life.
Yeah, I believe that. I mean, as a kid, this was my first mainstream exposure to Spider-Man. So there's a little nostalgia to it, but I'm coming back to it. I haven't seen this movie in years, and I'm going, okay, there's a lot of rose-tinted glasses going on with this one. And that might be a hot take, but there's a lot of rose-tinted glasses in my memory.
Expand, please.
Oh, I can summarize this movie in one word. Awkward.
Okay.
This movie is very awkward. Now, this is with years and years of hindsight and watching movies and studying writing and everything. This movie is very awkward. Incredibly so. The acting is a little awkward, the editing and the pacing's a little awkward, and the story's just a tad bit awkward. Now, does that make it bad? No. I had a fun time revisiting this movie. I don't think that is a bad thing, but this movie is very awkward.
I think this movie is inconsistent. There are moments that are very, very good and well done.
Yes.
And there are moments that are awkward, and I think it's the script.
I would believe 100% that it is the script.
Because there's things that are said in the script beyond the, with great power comes great responsibility line. There's things in the script that I find myself writing down, thinking that was very well said, and then there's moments
a few of it
that are kind of cringy.
Oh yeah, I think really it is. So a lot of people have the rose tint for Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man because it's the Spider-Man that they grew up with, and I totally get it. Now Tobey has matured as an actor and leveled up as an actor since these movies came out.
Yes, he was 26 when this was filmed.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the classic trope of a mid-20-year-old playing a high schooler is always funny and awkward to watch. But somewhere in there he was. But he's almost 50 now, I think. Mm-hmm. He's almost 50 now, and when he came back to reprise the role.
Right.
In the third Tom Holland movie, I mean, the difference is night and day.
But it's believable from a teenage Spider-Man to a middle-aged Spider-Man.
Yes, that is.
Yes.
But at the same time, I think there was a lot riding on his performances, specifically anytime he's talking to MJ. And I'm like, okay, this is a level of awkwardness that if this was not a comic book character, she would have noped the out of any of these conversations. Had this been a real conversation.
Talking about this
I'm talking about this movie. I'm talking
here.
about this movie in particular. Their encounters are always just so awkward to sit through.
If these two really grew up next to each other since age 6, they would have played together in the yard. They would have known each other well. They would have had periods where they were best friends. They would have had periods where they were mortal enemies.
Yep.
They would have known a whole lot more about each other. She would have had a better sense of how much he actually liked her because it would have become painfully obvious.
Yes.
And this idea that they lived next door for all those years and she was almost unaware of him.
Yeah.
I didn't buy it for a moment.
No.
It's just not.
It's just not.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And he can see into her bedroom. That means she can see into his.
Exactly. You know. It's there's a level of suspension of disbelief a serious suspension of disbelief
that you
to
have
take
to
some of the plot lines in this seriously.
Well, but the chemistry between Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst was genuine, and it was easy, and it was relaxed, and
there are moments of it, and it improves. However,
yes.
there's a gripe I have with this Mary Jane that will probably become more. I will probably develop. I will discuss more as we get through this trilogy.
Okay.
So it's probably not a this video thing.
Okay.
Because it really wasn't. She really wasn't that bad in this overall, but there's a trend of Mary Jane becoming insufferable, and a lot of people point to this trilogy as
where it started.
Not where it started. It started in the 90s and the 2000s in the comic books, but this perpetuated it.
Okay.
But in this movie, it wasn't so bad. She was
pretty
stock standard.
They didn't give her a lot to work with.
Yeah, she was pretty standard as a love interest goes.
So, how well did this movie mirror the original comic book story?
It's mostly accurate. I mean, I think in reality, it's probably one of the more accurate ones.
Okay.
You've got, so if we go through the original comic book story, Peter Parker goes to a science exhibition. It's not a school field trip, as far as I'm aware. It's not a school field trip, and it's not even about spiders. It's about this new gamma weapon.
Okay.
And we'll get into that in a second because it's hilarious. So he in the comics he goes to this exhibition of this new device that fires gamma energy, and a spider drops into it as it goes off, and then it's in pain and it's dying, and as it falls onto Peter and bites him because it's in pain.
Right.
You know, it's not a genetically altered spider, which know you're adapting a comic book for
it's a minor
movie. It's a minor point. So that's the first minor point, and then obviously he makes web shooters in the comics. He doesn't naturally generate web fluid. That was a big change for this one that most people didn't really care about. Well, most people thought it was pretty cool. So I mean, I don't think that's a big
the whole
stickler point.
Changing out web cartridges, which was in the comics, which I do remember,
which Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland
later
did.
And the conversation between the three of them. Now, I haven't seen that whole movie, but I have seen clips and the conversation. Like, you can't do that, that's like, and they're kind of grossed out that he can.
Yeah.
And I just. That's a delightful moment.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious
between the three.
It's hilarious. And then, but where I was getting to is that in terms of actual accuracy to the comics, Spider-Man did go be a TV performer, and did some wrestling.
Okay.
And did some TV performances on television to make money. That's how Peter started, and that's honestly, legitimately, the one gripe I have with Spider-Man movies and origin stories is that they kind of ruin the Uncle Ben killer plot twist. The movies have I think that's one of my bigger takeaways is I don't think the movies have done the Uncle Ben killer right. And for a very specific reason. In the comics, Spider-Man was coming out of a meeting. He might have been heated, but he's out of a meeting, and there's a robber running down the hallway.
Right.
And there's a policeman chasing him, and Peter just stands there, and the robber runs, and the policeman is trying to catch him, and the policeman's like, "Stop that man! Stop that man!" And Spider-Man just stands there.
Right.
And Peter's attitude when the cop confronts him, why didn't you stop him? He's like, "Your job is to catch the criminals. I'm not going to get in the way of that. That's your job.
Okay.
Why would I do that? That's your job."
Okay.
And so in the comics, the line "with great power comes great responsibility" hits harder because there was no reason for Peter to let the robber go other than he didn't care. It wasn't his job.
As opposed to the motivation of the guy stealing the money that Peter thought he was supposed to be paid.
Exactly. Okay. So in the movie, there's like, you understand why Peter let the guy go.
I don't disagree with Peter for letting the guy go.
I don't disagree with... Yeah, exactly. It kind of ruins that whole thing. It's like, oh, this feels more like the writers trying to make Spider-Man look like the bad guy in this scenario, but not wanting him to be a total prick. Like, they were trying to balance the whole, is Peter going to be a bit of a jerk about it? Like, how do we make our character likable and justify his action? It's a trap I see a lot of writers get into. They don't want to make their character unlikable, so they try to justify their character's actions. But in doing so, it feels like they're unnecessarily punishing their character for acting the way most people would. They did the same thing with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. He didn't have enough cash, and he wasn't allowed to borrow the cash from the till.
Right.
The little take a coin, leave a coin. Right. And the guy holds up the store and tosses him what he was about to buy for not for not doing that, because he's causing a distraction for him. And it's like, that one's less justifiable, obviously, because he's actively trying to help the dude rob the place instead of just letting him go. But like, they try to make Peter's reason for not interfering with the robbery more justified, and it kind of ruins the point of the great power comes great responsibility if you just let Peter be selfish for a little bit, because he's got all this power now and he's been this bullied nerd. That enough is understandable why he would be that way, and that's the purpose of the great power great responsibility line. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the one thing that the movies don't get right. We'll probably revisit it when it comes to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and it brings up a whole different point. Why are writers reluctant to let their main character have bad characteristics? It's
a character flaw.
Let them have it.
Let them have it. It makes them earn the right to be the good guy, the hero in the end.
Or
earn that,
or have that lesson hit harder, like it did in the original. It's a very interesting point, and not having read the origins in the original Spider-Man, mm-hmm. I wouldn't have known that difference watching this.
Now, it's been years since I read the comics, okay, and I might have gotten pieces of that wrong. Sure. But I'm pretty sure I got that.
So. Just a little business note. Hey, if you're with us from the Spider-Man community and you know these answers, put anything you want in the comments. Just be respectful, please, and we will respond to just about everything as time allows. We love the feedback from people who know more than we do and who can correct points. Just don't roast us, because then we're just not going to pay any attention, because why?
Exactly.
But we love the comments, so bring them on. Yeah. Did you know that Rosemary Harris? So Aunt May. And I remembered this when I saw this the first time. Yeah. And it hit me again this time. This is a casting that looked like Aunt May stepped out of the comic books and onto the screen.
Yes. And I think we're going to have to do a bit of each... Once we get to the end of this, we're going to have to do which one had the best Aunt May?
Sure.
Which one had the best speed?
Well, I know which one is the hottest Aunt May.
That's... I think everyone knows the answer to that one.
Rosemary Harris is 97.
Is she still alive?
She's still alive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
that's awesome. She was a great Aunt May. She's like... what I picture when I think of Aunt May from the comics. And little old innocent Aunt May. Like, she's supposed to be this innocent bystander. Right. Yeah.
Cliff Robertson as Uncle Ben. Now, I grew up watching Cliff Robertson on TV and in movies. He's a prolific actor, and I think this was a role... I haven't checked his credits, but I think this is a role that maybe he came out of retirement for, or it's near the end of his career. Mm-hmm. He did a serviceable job. He did a very, very good job. I didn't get that same sense of this is Uncle Ben, but Uncle Ben also isn't in the comics very long to...
He's usually never in very long.
Yeah.
He's only ever in like the first 3 issues of any run, if that.
Right. Yeah. So an easy one to get rid of. What did you think of Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn?
Perfect. He is Green Goblin to Spider-Man is almost, and I say almost for a reason, but almost Joker to Batman.
Okay.
But you have to have the right person to play Green Goblin, because you have to have someone who can embody the insanity of it. So Joker can either be like completely insane or a little more like composed.
Right.
Like there's different ways to play Joker, right?
Yes.
But Green Goblin, if you want to play Green Goblin right, you kind of have to be able to portray the split between Norman Osborn and Green Goblin. And Norman Osborn is not a good human in most Spider-Man media. He's usually got some, what does Black Widow say, red in his ledger?
Okay.
He's usually a pretty shady businessman who's kind of power hungry, but he likes Peter, and there is good qualities to him in some, but he's a flawed man, a very flawed man.
Sure.
But then there's the Goblin side that is a raving lunatic, that is a separate personality, like a separate entity, and Willem is just so good. He is so good at so many different... He can be that composed. Like, he can be very charismatic when he wants to be, and he can be absolute crazy.
Yes.
I think it's perfect casting. I think you would struggle to find someone else to play Green Goblin the same way this man did.
I want to say... I do not disagree with anything you have just said. I cannot think of an actor that would have played that better. I think they wasted his talent.
I think they did a little too.
I think he did far more with the material he was given than many actors would have.
Yes, okay. I 100% believe that.
And I think that, again, I think the script was uneven in the editing choices and the story choices made some things a little cringy. Like, there was absolutely no motivation for the big, I'm sorry I haven't been a better father hug scene on the stairs with his son. That came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You don't see him reflecting on it. You don't see him causing his son pain and wondering about it. And so it's almost like they were ticking boxes.
It almost felt like
it was forced.
It almost felt like Harry was just more of a rebellious teen, because I never got the sense that Norman... He might have been, like, busy with his work, but I never got the idea that Norman was that bad of a father.
I did.
In this script. I can see, like...
I can see the motivation for it.
Yeah.
But you need... So there were two things. There were two observations on this. This movie... couldn't decide if it was going to be the next generation comic book story, also like the Marvel's Avengers series. Their introductory stories were always tremendous. It had elements of the first Michael Keaton Batman, and so I couldn't decide if Osborn should be taken seriously or was he Jack Nicholson's Joker. That's where I struggled watching this now, thinking it couldn't make up its mind which one it wanted to be. But I think you needed movies like this for the next generation of writers to say, wait a minute, we need to do these better. Because let's face it, the origin story movies are fantastic. The Captain America,
when they're done right,
you know, the Iron Man, you know.
You mentioned Captain America.
Yeah.
I love how even in series where he is non-existent in canons, TV shows, and movies where he is not a part of it, he is still the Cap is like the the focal point of the Marvel universe. So much happens because people wanted to recreate Captain America. What are they doing at Oscorp? They're trying to make a super soldier.
Right.
They just can't say that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're trying to recreate Captain America. They just can't recreate. Because Sony didn't get the rights to that. Because Sony didn't want the rights to it.
That's an interesting observation.
Sony
but yes,
only wanted the rights to Spider-Man. They were offered Iron Man and Cap and Thor and
all of that.
Yeah, they declined it. They were like, these aren't going to make money.
Wow, did they miss the boat on that one? But actually, glad everything happened the way it did because what we got was tremendous.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was. So man, if you could have given Dafoe a better script. Right, it just would have flowed so much better, and they might have been stuck on the whole movie time limit thing.
Well, he comes back in that.
I know he comes back.
He's better.
And Doc Ock comes back.
This isn't a One Piece situation. I don't feel as bad about talking about
Spidey spoilers.
Talking about it, but he does come back. I think that script actually kind of knew what to do with him,
right,
and gave him.
Oh, okay.
He's in less obviously because it's not his movie.
Sure.
But I mean, I really liked his comeback in that.
Nice.
It's wicked.
You know what? I'm looking forward to seeing it. I do know that he comes back. When it comes to spoilers, if something is new, we'll give a spoiler warning. This movie's 23 years old. We're not worried about spoiling anything. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know. I watched this movie. I took a ton of notes. There were moments. I've mentioned the script so many times because there's such awkwardness, and then there's moments. Peter comes home after being bitten. He wants to go straight to bed, and Aunt May asks him, "Do you want a bite?" And he says, "No, thanks. Had a bite." He goes to bed. That's a great line.
It's a great line,
and it was very well delivered.
Yeah.
One of my complaints about this movie early on, and one of the reasons why I had mixed feelings about it was I really, when it first came out, I thought Tobey Maguire's performance was wooden. I didn't see a lot of emotion. Mm-hmm. Looking at it now, I have a much better appreciation for the quality of his performance. Mm-hmm. There was far more going on than I realized when I first saw it.
I don't think it was bad acting. I think the direction didn't help him.
Okay.
I would say I feel like there's scenes where he does really well, and then again there's scenes where any scene he's talking to Mary Jane. You
think it's just awkward?
It's just awkward as hell, and he's like whispering almost, and he's talking he's like this.
Painfully awkward.
Yeah, painfully awkward. Painfully awkward.
But I think that was part of the point of his character.
I think the sequel gets. I think as they fleshed out this Peter a little bit more, the cringiness and the awkwardness, they started going, you know what, let's just be deliberate. Be more deliberate with it.
Okay.
Let's write intentionally awkward lines.
Right.
Instead of trying to write. He's essentially speaking a poem to her in the hospital about what Spider-Man said about her, or what he said to Spider-Man.
Right.
And it's like you can tell this is to him, they're trying to be eloquent. This is his confession.
Right.
In the sequel, he walks up with a bunch of battered pizza boxes in the first 10 minutes and goes, "Pizza time!" And it's really awkward, and it felt intentionally awkward.
Okay.
Gotcha. So it's I feel like they got better at that.
When will scientists learn that you never, ever, ever test your experiments on yourself? It never goes well.
They never do in comics. They never do.
They never do.
They never do.
In that scene where he does that, there's the scientist that gets killed, Dr. whatever his name is, Dr.
The one who objected to it. It's why would you still be there? You're the one objecting to it. Why are you still there?
Why would you participate in Osborn testing it on himself? You just leave. But they're strapping him down onto the table. They're putting the clamps over him. And did you notice Defoe's on the table and he goes, "Ooh, it's cold." Mm-hmm. And I couldn't help but wonder.
I think that was not intentional.
That was ad-libbed.
I think that was ad-libbed.
I think
that was his genuine reaction.
A very human reaction to stuff that it would be cold when you put it on. And I was just like, and I wrote, down here, scripted or ad-libbed, I'm betting that it's ad-libbed, right?
I think it was ad-libbed.
That's where a good actor with permission from a smart director will not only let that stuff happen, but will actually use it when they realize it's good. That's a second in the movie. It's a beat. It's subtle, but it's so important.
Yeah,
and
it's just good.
Just recently, I've been noticing that in performances more and more and more.
Yeah,
and developing a finer appreciation for it.
Now, I will say that there is a curse that comes with that.
Yeah,
and it's that actors. I've seen it a lot. I'll just say I have seen this a lot on set. Actors who go so off script, like they like where the script is more like an outline,
right,
rather than an actual script that you stick to,
right,
and their line delivery changes so much between takes that you're like, this is going to be so difficult for the editors. You just made this an editor's nightmare.
Sure.
I think the more that those stories get shared, the more actors think that it's good to do that.
You have,
especially younger actors.
And
that's all I'll say about that.
Well, you know what? I would imagine that part of that is the actors are struggling to memorize the script.
To be fair, a lot of those scripts are done on very tight conditions, so they probably don't have the time to memorize the script to the way that they should.
And no, there's a whole talent to memorizing scripts accurately, quickly, and not everybody has it.
And not everyone has it.
It takes
But a lot of them like to intentionally. I think I've seen a lot of directors encourage the improv as well.
Gotcha.
Where I'm like, you probably shouldn't. This is like a 10-second scene with one line. Why are you given that much freedom?
Yeah. Well,
get the shot and let's get out. Let's go home. That's just my gripes.
Right.
Working in it.
So we get into this movie and it's moving along and I just sat back in my chair and I said, okay, this is basically a comparison contrast between two people going through the same thing at the same time.
Was my yours
takeaway.
Too?
That was
my
your takeaway.
It's like these are literally two sides of the same coin. I think he says it. Or in his little speech to Spider-Man.
Oh, he might have.
Something along those lines. But they are.
So I sat there wondering. I reached out. I hit the pause button. Right. And this is why I love to do these things on DVD or streaming rather than live.
Yeah.
Right, or watching in the theater. I'm sitting there and I'm asking myself, okay, what are our options here? Peter's good. Osborn's bad. Peter's good, Osborn's good. Peter's bad, Osborn's good. Or Peter's bad, Osborn's bad. Oh, that would be a fun story to write.
Oh, I think they tried to do that in the third movie.
Well,
with the black suit.
With Venom?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. But no, I mean, then I wondered, did some writers for Marvel reboot Spider-Man where he's a bad Spider-Man? Where would you go with stuff like that? It's just a little...
Ironically, those are typically the only Spider-Man who get happy endings.
The ones
you know my
bad?
You know my gripe. Everyone's gripe with writers of Spider-Man.
Okay.
They just won't let the dude be happy.
Oh yeah, you said that before. Yes.
They live on, and it started around, I believe, the 90s in the comic run where they were like, well, we can't just let Spider-Man settle down with Mary Jane and be happy. He was in a loving relationship that had been going on for like almost 20 years IRL with Mary Jane, on again, off again with a couple other people, but like Peter was like going steady. They were getting married. They were gonna have a kid, and then I can't remember the comic that it happens in.
She got hit by a bus?
No. Aunt May's dying because someone shot her.
Okay.
So a villain shot her, and then out of nowhere, Peter does the most un-Peter-like thing and literally makes a deal with the devil to save May's life at the expense of their unborn child. It's the most un-Peter thing. I think it was Brand New Day. Yeah, it is And I think the kid wasn't. I don't even think Mary Jane was pregnant at that point. The devil was just like, haha, you're never gonna have children in exchange for May's life. It's like it is a total character assassination, and it started this perpetual cycle of Peter never gets stability.
Gotcha.
And it's just a never-ending cycle.
You know, Peter never being happy, you know, this gripe with writers. I will never forget the day my Shakespeare instructor, Dr. Wine, I will never forget this, made the observation that Shakespeare's tragedies always have a happy ending, and Shakespeare's comedies always have a tragic ending. And then he went down the list of both and giving snippets of the end of each play, and I just remember sitting back in my chair going, wow, never noticed that.
If the topic of your story is emotionally heavy, it's nice to have the levity at the end. And if your product is so upbeat, it's a gut punch.
Yes, it is.
To make it sad.
Yes,
you know,
it is.
it.
Well, and then
turn
the volume off. I have to remind myself before I walk into the classroom, every class, make sure the volume is off. And that. It's why I like the ending of King John so much.
Yeah.
Because there's hope.
Yeah.
There's so much hope at the end of King John.
I just love that play. It's a good play.
It's a great one.
It's so funny.
So I had a Norman first getting his powers and jumping, and then the quick segue to Peter waking up on the bedroom floor. That's a great segue. That's a great edit. Oh yeah, I really like that.
The better.
You know, Uncle Ben. What?
This was my note about Captain America earlier. Why is Captain America always the reason we get supervillains every freaking time? Every time. Anyway,
because there's a poster of him in the Marvel writers' room.
Also, why does that general not want that glider? That glider is awesome. There is not a single military general in the world that would look at that glider and say, no, I don't think we want that.
The amount of changes that take place in the military because of change of command and one general leaves and another comes in are stunning.
Yeah, but you're talking about an individual vehicle, personal flying vehicle that's impossible to spot on radar and fires missiles that can blow up bunkers. Who wouldn't be drooling for that? The military would be coming up with their credit card going, take it, take it. Take it.
It wasn't the glider he didn't like. It was the gas that was.
No, he said it was. He said it was tired. He was tired of seeing the glider. He wanted to see how this would work. But yeah, no, he didn't like any of Osborn's
Well,
stuff.
but I mean, that for me, having watched the military at arm's length the way I have. And I can't say any more than that. It didn't surprise me.
Watching what they are investing in. This does. I'm looking at this like that looks like something they'd be investing in.
I remember asking my theater teacher, and this was when I was going through college and becoming a teacher, and going back and talking to him, how teenagers were in the 90s versus when he started teaching in the late 70s. And I remember him saying, oh, they're the same. He said, testosterone is testosterone. It doesn't change. And not only was he correct, but, you know, when people learn I'm about to go back into the classroom, and I've been out of the classroom for a long time, they're like, aren't you, kids today have it so, I'm like, no. The dressings might be different, but testosterone is testosterone. So I laughed when Uncle Ben says teenagers, raging hormones, they never change. They really don't. It's just, one of those things. Yeah.
There's
so many things.
Goblin is trying to appeal to Peter's selfish nature, which I can see the route they're trying to take. I don't think it works.
Nope.
As intended, because we already got the resolution to the great power, great responsibility. So when Goblin is trying to confront Peter's, like,
that's a great point.
Ego,
that's a great
selfishness. Point. Yeah. If he's trying to appeal to, like, the hero and trying to not trying to get Spider-Man to join with him, it's kind of a redundant point from a writing perspective, because it's the same conflict that he faces right when he gets his powers with Uncle Ben's killer.
Right.
It's if they had here's my thing. What if you did a Spider-Man story and Uncle Ben gets killed and Peter, I mean, did they do that in Amazing Spider-Man? Did they do that in Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, or did he catch?
I don't remember.
Because he went hunting for him.
I honestly do not remember.
I don't remember, but what if I had done this movie with that script, I would not have let Peter find Uncle Ben's killer until later on in the movie. I would have had Peter trying to stop criminals because he's trying to hunt down Uncle Ben's killer, and he's like pissed off at criminals. Maybe make him a little more Batman at the beginning, so he's doing it for the wrong reasons. And then he's getting the praise for it, and it's a bit of an ego boost, because there's this aspect
have the catching the killer and then making the decision with Osborn be a 1-2 moment where it's more of a realization.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I feel like if you are going to have Osborn present this conflict to Peter, that would be my thing. If I were to do that, or I would have just cut that. Have Goblin just have a different... Because what is Goblin's goal in this? Like, really? He kind of gets what he wants. Well, he kills the board members. He takes out all of Norman's enemies. He kind of just succeeds at everything he wants to do. He could have just effed off.
Well, what did they say? So the one thing that this movie did very well and very effectively is that it set the story in motion and gave backstory in an interesting and compelling way.
Yes, it did.
You move through the bite, you move through the transformation, you move through Osborn's transformation. But they say, when that general comes in and says he's going to nix the whole thing, that the big problem was that... anger issues, and it wasn't anger issues. It was rage, and insanity. Rage,
literally what happens to him.
Literally what happens to him. So they pretty much tell you what's going to happen to Osborn, and so, but he didn't. Osborn didn't know Peter Parker well enough to know how to get to him. So they tried to do I get to him through his heart.
Yeah.
But you could have taken MJ out of that situation, and you could have put any generic woman into that situation, and Peter Parker would have done the same thing to try and save her.
Peter, the hero, Parker,
he
would have just done that. He would have protected an innocent person. And that's why, the conflict at the end is a classic Spider-Man issue. It's a trolley problem for Spider-Man, and Spider-Man always finds a way to save both.
Right.
Except... in the comics,
yes,
he doesn't. In the comics, so this is why. So that bridge scene wasn't done with MJ in the comics, and I don't believe there was a trolley in it. It was done with Gwen Stacy.
Okay.
And Green Goblin drops Gwen, and Spider-Man fails to save her.
Ooh.
Like it happens. There's a whole the initial run of Spider-Man. MJ is just this hot chick on the side who kind of exists.
Okay.
And they know each other.
Right.
They're not really, Peter probably has a crush on her, but, they're not really involved at all.
Okay.
He goes out with Gwen Stacy, and that's the majority of the original Spider-Man run, and that's, a massive loss to Peter.
Okay.
And that's what drives him to not want to get involved with people and not make those personal connections so he can protect the people he cares about.
Right.
That's the driving force for that.
Okay.
So, back to your earlier question about how comic accurate it is.
Okay.
It's kind of brought up.
Okay.
It's kind of brought up.
It'd be interesting to see if you had the opportunity to write the perfect Spider-Man movie, what you would come up with.
I think that's impossible. I think writing the perfect Spider-Man movie is impossible because everyone has a different take of what a perfect Spider-Man is going to be. So,
well, yeah, clearly, but I mean that's kind of obvious. But what would the perfect Spider-Man movie be for you?
Oh,
it'd be really interesting. Yeah, it'd be a real interesting exercise.
It would be interesting.
So, what did you think of J.K. Simmons?
I love J.K. Simmons as an actor in anything. That is
his
bucket list actor to meet.
His insurance commercials are as entertaining as any role he does on screen.
He was and forever will. He is the perfect JJJ. He is the perfect James Jonah Jameson. He is. You will never top it. He will never top it because he gets the character so well.
He does, and he was the other character that stepped off the comic book page and stepped
100%
onto the screen, and he was hysterical.
Serious?
Yes.
He's hysterically funny in all 3 movies. He is consistent. He is Jameson is his own good character in his own right because he is just as complex in the comics as anyone else.
Okay.
He hates masked vigilantes because his wife was killed by a masked gunman, so he hates anyone who wears a mask. So
which wasn't in this movie.
Justifies his hatred for Spider-Man and all the other. He actually in the comics doesn't mind Captain America because Captain America's identity is publicly known.
Okay.
He doesn't care as much about Iron Man because eventually Tony Stark comes out as Iron Man.
Right.
And that's how they justify him hating Spider-Man.
See, this is the difference between the movies that came afterward that give you the motivation of all these people versus this where you just get this cranky newspaper editor.
No, I don't think they needed it for this movie because they did something great. They tapped into it because Jameson, he's a bit of an ass.
Right.
Well,
Jameson's wife was alive in this movie.
Yeah.
So.
But he.
The ongoing calls about redecorating are hysterical.
But you notice what happens when everyone's talked to death about it. It's the Joker line from The Dark Knight. People show you who they truly are in their final moments.
Yes.
What happens? Green Goblin comes in, is holding him by the throat, and basically saying, if you don't tell me who takes those pictures, I'm going to kill you.
And he doesn't. Yes, I noticed that. And it's a huge moment.
It is a huge moment. Right. It is a fantastic moment.
Yes.
It's so good.
And so good. Did it in front of Peter.
He did it in
Peter
front of...
saw that.
Yes.
He saw that side of him.
That.
Right.
Now, Jameson might hate Spider-Man, but, and obviously he doesn't know, but
I'm going to throw a wrench into this.
Okay, go for it.
Is it because that's who he truly is? Or is it because as a writer, he is absolutely ingrained and married to the concept that you never reveal your sources?
I think it's both.
Okay.
I don't think those are mutually exclusive.
No, they are not. I
think they're almost, in his case, they're mutually inclusive. I feel like he is such a hardcore editor. He is so caring about his craft and his journal. He might hate Spider-Man. He might have a vendetta against Spider-Man. But
he has journalistic integrity.
He has journalistic integrity as far as, Peter's not bringing him a story.
No.
About Spider-Man saving the day. He's bringing him photos.
Right.
So Jameson can have people write whatever he wants.
Right.
It's basically just opinion pieces.
And he does.
And he does. But in terms of running his business, he's not going to give up his sources. He's not going to betray those people. He's not going to put them at risk.
Right.
He takes his job seriously. In that aspect of it.
No. No. Jameson is driven by sales. Because as he is arguing against no more web crawler on the front page, when his assistant editor says we've sold out 4 runs, he changes on a dime and says Spider-Man front page. And here's and he goes with all of that stuff, and it's like he doesn't care about the truth. He cares about sales. Now, that's true of all media.
Yes.
I don't care if it's the Evening News, the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Chicago Tribune. I don't care. It's the truth about media.
It's a business.
They don't care about truth as much as they care about sales.
It's a business.
Yes.
They're going to put that first.
Yes.
But, why, if it was just about the sales and protecting his own skin, why would he protect Peter? I think there's a bit of both.
I think it's complex.
Yeah. But that's what makes it so much fun, and that's what makes... Just that one scene took the gag character and made him into a character that has you questioning everything that he does.
Yeah, this is true. True. Yep.
Uh-huh.
I'll give you that because we've just spent 5 minutes on it, and it's
yeah.
Yeah. One of the things about the script, and I know I keep going back to this, but it's kind of woven through different scenes in the movie as I go through my notes. One of the uneven parts of it, some of the lines that are delivered are so realistic to someone growing up in the city. Mm-hmm. And some of them are just so Hollywood script writing scriptish. And the one that really caught my attention was Osborn's, Harry asks his dad to get Peter a job. Peter keeps saying no. Osborn keeps saying, I'll make a couple phone calls, it'll be fine, and Peter says, no, I want to earn my own way, and he says, you want to make it on your own steam. I respect that, right? Mm-hmm. That's a great line.
Yeah.
That's a great vernacular. Yeah. That's a great city person, and it's like, I heard people talking that way my whole life.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate it.
Yeah.
I can appreciate it because it was so... it was standard. That was just life in the city growing up.
Yeah.
It just really was. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. It's always one thing that has bugged me about Spider-Man media as well. There's a bunch of little nitpicks I have with it. Is that if Harry and Spidey and Peter, are friends from childhood, the Norman from the comics would have been all over the Parkers as a charity case to boost his own image.
Yeah,
and
probably.
Even if it had been an anonymous donation, the Norman Osborn of the comics, who is very self-centered, has, again, some good sides to him, some real character assassinations. There's so many character assassinations in Spider-Man. I can't begin to tell you. They have assassinated just about every character in Spider-Man, like just from a character perspective.
Right.
At some point or another, they have.
Okay.
However, the typical Norman Osborn, at least the modern take on him, probably would have been all over that as like an anonymous donator to like get his son's friend out of poverty. Look how good of a person I am. I funded this family, and now I'm running for mayor. Imagine what I'll do for you. That's what I'll say about that. There's a lot where Norman, even after being Green Goblin, makes bids for political power.
Oh, I believe
or
it.
before that.
Well, you got to do something with the character.
Yeah,
it's like Kingpin.
And it makes it interesting.
Right.
It makes it interesting, which is also really funny because I want a world where you have Norman Osborn as the Republican candidate and Kingpin as the Democratic candidate, or vice versa. I don't care. I want a comic run that is just the citizens and the superheroes' perspective of Norman Osborn versus Kingpin, and they're both running for New York City mayor. That would be
in a scene like of Daredevil and Spider-Man like leaning against the wall together going, really?
Yeah. Just like, no, even better. They're both broke. They're placing bets.
Oh, that's, yeah, okay.
They're placing bets. They're like, my guy's gonna win. It's just, trust me, That would be a 10-issue miniseries, and then it's a completely different villain who wins in a landslide, who's like the third party everyone.
Idea, copy written by Pork Chops, Royce, and
That
Peaches.
would be hysterical. That would be hysterical.
I like it. I like it.
Call me Marvel. I got ideas.
So was the Green Goblin's mask intentionally a reference to the Power Rangers? I kept waiting for the Pink Ranger to show up and fight. That was the most. That was the most 1970s B-rated movie costume.
It's so they were trying to update because that's what Green Goblin looks like in the comics. He's right there next to the thing, like the purple and the. I can just grab it. I think that's from around the time. I've had this for years.
Oh, that guy. Oh, God. I was looking at these little guys right here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, these walls are amazing if you can see them up close.
That's the classic Green Goblin. It's the purple. It's the actual pumpkin bomb. It's shaped like a pumpkin.
Right.
The purple and green, which, honestly, is such a cool color combination for so many characters. But, so they were updating this. They were trying to make this cool in 2002.
If I'm not mistaken, the bathroom in St. Joe had a green and purple color combination in it when we remodeled it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
I could be wrong. I'll be corrected by your mother if I'm wrong.
Probably.
But or it's either that or she wanted it, and I said no. One of the two. Yeah.
Interesting. I wouldn't do that in like architecture, but like character design wise, it's pretty cool. Works for Hulk.
So, you get that whole argument that I think nobody does it as well as maybe Heath Ledger and Christian Bale and Batman. People are going to turn on you and see you fail. Mm-hmm. But they have that whole argument in here. In spite of everything you've done for them, they'll enjoy watching you fail. Not enough to sway Parker to the dark side.
And Goblin gets proven wrong when the New Yorkers are like, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. It's like, I feel like 90% of New Yorkers would have just driven by that going,
they would have.
Problem.
90% of New Yorkers wouldn't have looked up to notice anything going on.
Yeah, to notice it was going on, but that's a common theme in the Spider-Man movies. They literally did that in Amazing Spider-Man as well, where all the construction workers give him a path to swing.
Right, I remember that. Yeah, where they all turn.
Yeah, so like there's a running theme of like the city being there for Peter. They do it in the sequel to this one. They do it, multiple times. It is in the comics and in the TV shows. It's a running theme. The city actually enjoys Spider-Man.
Right.
They like Spider-Man. They think he looks out for the little guy. That's why he doesn't team up with the Avengers that often. Is because he's like, I'm focusing on the little guy, and that's why people like him.
Yeah. I can see that. The little guy is often overlooked in the big city. Mm-hmm. It is. I love the balance of in the playfulness of Peter meets MJ on the street. I was in the neighborhood. The whole I had to take 2 buses and a train to get into the neighborhood. That's a cute line. That's very well done.
That one was actually really well done.
That was really well done because you see him develop a little bit. You see him develop his self-confidence. He starts to relax around MJ, and that's actually fun to see.
Yeah.
When he saves her a little bit later. Mm-hmm. And then he says, I was in the neighborhood.
Yes.
There should have been a bigger awareness in her mind, right? And she says, who are you? And he says, you know who I am.
Yeah.
It's like, behind the mask, he's thinking, haven't I made it obvious who I am?
Yeah.
But did you notice, he swings her through the city, which I thought, I would have gone for the closest building because you're now suddenly swinging with an extra 125 pounds hanging.
The proportional strength of a spider.
Yeah, I get the whole thing.
Nothing to him.
And they land on the same rooftop where Kingpin and Mam Gao had their great conversation.
And the same, I believe it's the same building where Reed and Sue try to get married in the Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Yes.
I think it's been used in like every Marvel franchise.
Right. Yeah. I googled that location and it's a hotel and I saw the picture of it. It's actually got grass.
Rooftop garden.
Yeah,
it's a pretty cool building.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So
I would not want to have to mow the roof, but
right.
You know.
Who does that? I want to know who does that.
Some poor gardener. He's walking through the lobby of the building.
He has to
pushing
take an elevator. He has to take a push mower all the way up. Yeah, that's funny. I do not see the difference, and this is something that I think we will talk about once we get to the full series finale. I think it will help once we get to the final, because we're getting another Tom Holland Spider-Man, but once we get to No Way Home, which is the 3 of them, I think that we'll talk about this more, but it's like, I can already tell, I think Tobey was a really good Peter Parker. His Spider-Man, it paved the way for the other 2, but Spider-Man as a separate entity from Peter Parker, because superhero secret identity type stuff. Spider-Man is so much more quippy and confident than Peter, and it's because Peter's trying to hide how scared he is and how unconfident he is. But Spider-Man, the facade, is so lighthearted and just constantly making jokes, and you only got it a couple times in this one.
Usopp wearing a mask. The mask just.
Oh, now we're gonna start referencing One Piece and all our other ones. Yes.
Well, but it is.
But I made that. I made that reference in the last video too. In the last One Piece, I made that comparison.
Maybe you did, and that thing was 3 hours long. You can't expect me to remember all of it. But the mask, yeah, you did. Okay, I remember this. Masks allow you to escape who you are.
Yes.
Now, that
Stanford Prison Experiment.
That observation shouldn't be a criticism of Tobey Maguire.
Oh, no,
it's
not.
That's the writing.
It is the writing. They did not give him enough quips as Spider-Man.
Right.
Because,
the one that caught my attention that was really big.
Which one?
Was after Green Goblin, blows up the office. He's got Jameson. He throws him down. Spider-Man drops down. Jameson starts to say something.
He's like, quiet, Mom and Dad are talking.
He says, hey, kiddo, shut up and let Mom and Dad talk, will you?
That
was a great quip.
That was a great quip.
Yes.
I wanted more of it. We got that. That was like the inkling. I said there were a couple in there.
Yes.
They got better at it. Like, Andrew Garfield, I think, was the best at it overall.
Okay.
That whole oh no, my biggest weakness, tiny knives. Oh man, you should have seen the look on your face. Like, he's just an ass as Spider-Man, and it's so funny.
Garfield is just so talented. He is so ridiculously talented.
He is so ridiculously talented. But like I said, I think Tobey is a very good Peter. I think his Peter gets even better as we go.
Okay.
I mean, the third movie is
tough.
The third movie's tough, but
the third movie is Superman 3. I mean, let's face it, it is. It is.
It is. Bully Maguire though is hilarious.
Who?
Bully Maguire. When he gets the black suit and he becomes a complete D-bag.
Yeah.
That is unintentionally funny.
What did you think of the stunt fighting? What did you think of the action sequences?
There's not much. I know they did a lot with wires. I think it was really good for a first outing. I wish they had done and it's obvious why they didn't, but they wanted to do the big swinging sections and the big moments that are showing off this is what Spider-Man does. He's acrobatic, he jumps, he climbs walls and all that stuff. They were really focusing in on that. I so much more enjoy watching Spider-Man at the beginning of the movie. It's that slice of life moment at the beginning of the movie to establish everything.
Right.
It's always my favorite part of the movie. I want to see him take down normal dudes with ease. I just want to see him just casually go flip, 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 flip. Just tying people up,
Oh, he does in the middle of the movie.
He does, but it's mostly by swinging, and it's because they're cutting costs by not having him visible.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to see more of it. I get it. But again, back then they didn't have action in the early 90s, 2000s was far more wire based. Matrix and Resident, or not Resident Evil. I mean Resident Evil, but the underworld, blade.
Right.
There's a lot of martial arts, not a lot of like gymnastics.
Gotcha.
So all the gymnastics is done heavily with wires.
Right.
You know, so it's a very wire heavy
action. I enjoyed the fight sequence in the burning building. I did. I liked
that. I think was the best one. In the movie.
Yeah.
I think again with the Sam Raimi trilogy, the Tobey trilogy, the visual effects progressively got better. I think the action progressively got better. I think it peaks with 2.
Okay.
I think 2 is the best in the trilogy. So, you know, stick around for that. You know, because that video's coming. But yeah, I think it progressively got better. But I think this Spider-Man walked so that the other 2 could run. Very much so.
Well, yeah, in hindsight, yeah, that's would be easy to see.
I think they took all the. Did I tell you that one of the guys I worked with in Alabama has been on all 3 Spider-Man franchises?
Oh, you might have mentioned it.
And he drives semi-trucks.
Okay.
Like, so if there's a semi-truck being driven in any of the Spider-Man movies, it's probably him driving it.
Oh, gotcha. That had to be fun.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
So just, overall, because if you are new to the channel and if you are new to, you're part of the Spider-Man community, we rarely give a plot synopsis. I am so sorry. Excuse me. That just came out of nowhere. Holy smokes. My apologies. We rarely give a plot synopsis. We are just a rolling conversation, and we never talk about these things in advance. We don't know where this is going. At this point, my main thoughts. One, did you like this movie? Did you enjoy it?
I enjoy this movie.
Okay. Would you recommend this movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I really did enjoy it.
It's fun. I think it's fun but awkward.
Yeah.
I think it's fun but awkward. I'll summarize it that way. The movie is fun, but a little bit awkward.
Okay.
That's not a bad thing. It's okay it's charming in that way.
That's a great way of describing it.
In its awkwardness. It's kind of fun to watch and kind of cringe along with in certain aspects of it.
Right.
I can't wait till we review the second one.
Pop some popcorn, pop your feet up, watch the movie, enjoy it for what it is, and
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for the start of this retrospective journey of the Spider-Man.
So, if you like what you see here, consider hitting the subscribe button somewhere down in here. We love comments. We respond to as many as we possibly can. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And thank you for joining us on this episode of Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches.
And we'll see you next time.